Moving to oneness. Nourishing curiosity. Embracing differences. Becoming one.
Energies are moving and will be moved and will play with us.
I'm gonna go sleep. I'm just waking up here.
Oh, this is gonna be fun. So everyone, listen and feel already the energies that are flowing. That is and has to do with the joyful woman I have with me today on this episode of Moving to Oneness. And hello, everyone. I'm Mylene Elkinson. Please welcome with me Joy Baker from Vancouver Island, Canada. So welcome, Joy, and thanks for taking the time to come here.
Hi, Mylene. Thank you for having me on your show. And yeah, Germany and Canada. So the amazing, qualities of technology, they can sure help us out.
Yeah. And you're on the other side of Canada, on the Pacific side. So
yeah,
right. That's even 9 hours difference, and it makes easy for us to connect and play with these energies. And I'll just ask, Joy, did you add that to your life? Because you have this joyfulness about you now. I know you mentioned and your experience have not always been so joyful. How did you get to it? Because I would love that. I never couldn't find that out about you before.
Yeah. Well, I actually changed my name to Joy about 13, 14 years ago. But I've been on the path 30 years. As you know, I used to work with horses, showed horses for 10 years, and then trained and exercised race horses for 15 years. And loved the horses. I mean, when I left, missed them so much. And I mean, the beauty and the connection you have with animals. But I knew there had to be something more, like I just beyond struggle and beyond physically, I was working 7 days a week on the racetrack. I just couldn't do that any longer. It was becoming really stressful. And so I started saying to the universe, and, there's got to be something more. At the time, I didn't know the term universe. I just knew that to be something more. And sure enough, I was led to, books about the power of the mind and our belief system. And I'd never heard of beliefs before. I was completely new to all of this. And as I started on the path, I started to learn about, well, I actually had a session with a coach. I went to the Tony Robbins fire walk and walked on fire, which I absolutely didn't think was possible. But once I was there and he led us through the process, so it was a lot of visualization. And then seeing ourselves as we're walking on fire, we're not seeing ourselves walking on fire. We're saying cool moss the whole time we're walking on the fire. So we're saying to the brain, this isn't fire, this is cool moss. Well, that changes your whole biology. So you're able to walk on the fire. Well, going to that, I was still on the racetrack at the time, but my relationship was falling apart. I was in an 8-year relationship. And, with the horses, things were changing, and I needed to find a way to make more money because I was making just barely enough money to survive. That was the theme my whole life. And so I started finding those books. I ended up leaving my whole life. I just turned 33. My whole life had been with the horses up until then. That's all I knew. All I knew was horse people. Everybody I knew was on the racetrack, the relationship. I just walked away from it all. And it was that I remember. I was actually thinking last night, I remember about a month after I left the horses and the relationship, I was, should I go back? Shouldn't I? And I was in that, and I didn't know, this was 30 years ago. I didn't know anything. I just kind of dipped my toe in the water of this, field of consciousness and such. And I remember saying it was something such as, God, if I can make a difference to just one person, then it will have been all worth it. So I just said, just let me know I'm making a difference to one person, and then I'll know I'm on the right path. And I'm getting tingles as I'm saying
Yeah,
this.
your pure heart just went
Yeah.
boom. I
And
could feel it.
I actually got, and I'm still going back and forth. And that evening I got a message on my, answering machine voicemail saying, you made such a difference when, because I just joined a network marketing company and I was talking to a group of people about, some different stuff. And she said, you made such a difference. You changed my life. And I still remember that. I'd completely forgotten about that till last night. And I was thinking about it. And so that's what, just kept me going, wanting to make a difference. And then having that message, 30 years ago, you made such a difference to me. And I'm like, oh, so I can make a difference. Like what I say, who I am makes a difference. I'd never thought I could. And then, I was introduced through the book Celestian Prophecy about energy fields and how energy fields interact with each other. As we're talking to people, we're not just across from each other or with technology in this way, our energy fields are interacting. And it was like everything started to make sense. Everything's energy and we're all connected through energy. And it was like, oh, wow, this is starting to make sense. So I just learned everything I could about EFT. Learned about, different various tools and techniques, and every time I'd learn something, I'd use it on myself, and that helped me with moving forward. But money was always a thing. I went
Yeah.
through 2 bankruptcies because I just couldn't seem to make enough money, and that was because I didn't, I just felt completely worthless, like I had no value. And so, of course, that's from, the abuse I went through growing up and such, and extreme shyness and such. And so, that leaving feeling that absolute worthlessness, that of course translated to money and how much I felt I could, deserve to make. And people kept saying to me, I remember working with a therapist off and on, and he also did workshops for about 15 years when I started on the path. And I would ask him, like, how can I start making more money? I've got to figure this out. And he's like, start charging for your services. Because at the time I would, I could have started before, but I didn't believe in myself enough. It was actually September 2015 when I made the decision. I was just that commitment and knowing within myself it's time. I quit after I left the horses. There was about a 20-year gap before I started doing this full time. And I had several different jobs. My go-to survival job was telemarketing or cold calling.
Wow.
But I was able to make enough money to put food on the table at least. But I thought I've got to do something else. And so I would get these jobs. Looking back now, I call them survival jobs. And I always knew I wanted to be a coach, and then once I got an energy work healer, and so I would take a job thinking, "Is this gonna be it?" I'm like, "This isn't what I wanna do," so I would quit, and I would go on to something else, or I would actually try to start my business, but I didn't have any money and no clients and such, so within a few weeks, I'm like, "Well, I gotta find another job." So it was pretty crazy for about 20 years there until I started this full time. And that's when my money situation, when I stepped into my value and worth. Yeah, you know that
Fantastic.
exactly. When you
Mhm.
start really believing in yourself and recognizing, because we all have value, we all have that value and worth within ourselves. We all have that, like at our soul level, that light shines through. And that's within all of us.
Yes.
And when you can start really believing in that, that's when the money situation, starts to change. And when I started believing in myself and I really stepped into and aligned with my passion and my true self, then the money situation started to change. But yeah, it's been quite a journey. Like all of us and yourself.
Yeah, but I did research you also a little bit and know a little bit about you. So what I really picked up is this one nourishment that is still feeding you. And I don't know if everyone out there, if you heard that, but Joy mentioned that helping one person or making a difference in one person's life has nourished her then over the next 20 years. And there is something that a knowingness to go on your purpose. And sometimes it does take a long time because we're not trained. We're out, the Western culture, society, we're not trained the moment we're born, and we have no people to follow, right? Because they don't live it in front of our eyes. People do not recognize, are even more scared of us. And Joy, you've been also a channel since you've been small, and you spoke, became then very shy. And I bet because people couldn't handle your truth when you were little and wanted to, what's the word? Scare you or make you small, that you contract and pull back. And some people then go aggressively forward, or others pull back, shut down, and don't voice anything anymore. So then what I said, there are many people out there. So if you're one of that, but you feel it inside, observe also what Joy, and similar to me, Joy, I had that then too. Once we make that decision, the inner work starts, and you speak about it, and you have so many experiences, and then trained by these beautiful beings of horses, their spirits. Aber to really look at what we are, how we are, to get the strengths to live who we are, and to speak it out then, that not just speak what we think, but our truth. And then comes the truth of others to speak that out as well. And I've noticed when I did some of your meditations, and they're really good. It moves, physically moves people. The body reacts to what you weave with your energies. In the end, you use often, and I want to get back to that too, a language, and it sounds very similar. So I wanted to ask if you know what ancient society's language it is, or what Star Nation's language is. Do you know?
No, I don't know that specifically what it is. It's light language, so it comes from source. And it's like everything has a language. We've got all kinds of human languages and light language, and everybody speaks it different. I just say it just probably because, like, I'm really not into, like most people on the path, I just don't like labels. So I don't ask my guides. Like, somebody asked me, early on, well, who are your guides? Who are you working with? And I'm like, I don't know. They're my guides. But I had told them I don't want to know, because I don't want to have, labels. And they did tell me twice that they're, Pleiadians. And so it's, but the light language, I just see it as coming from pure light and that divine love. See, when I'm working in this is what I believe and see anyways, is divine love. There's a point way, way out there of just pure, like you say, oneness, pure oneness, that divine love. It's just that purity. And then as it enters human consciousness, then it gets separated. The energies get separated. But when I'm working, this is what my guides have said, when I'm working, and like you said, you can feel that energy, especially when you go into meditation. That's the point that the energy is coming from, is that place of oneness. I just want to mention, growing up, actually, I didn't talk much at all growing up, and I certainly didn't speak my truth. I had speech impediment. I actually did work with a speech therapist for a while, and epilepsy. So, I'd fall down and have the seizures and such, petite mal and grand mal, plus the speaking funny. So yeah, I got bullied a lot. And then I remembered through 8 years repressed memories while I've been on this path, being sexually abused growing up. I figure it was about 10 years. And so all of that, I wasn't mute growing up, but nowadays they would call it selective mutism. And, so I could speak. And especially once, as I worked with a speech therapist and could talk better. And but I didn't. It was like as a kid, I mean, this is remembering back, I didn't really see the purpose in speaking much.
I was going to say there was no need for you to speak. It now is the need. And that is so important, everyone. There is such a change. And why is Joy here now in this year, 2025, that's accelerating and moving you forward to be who you are. And you can do things so much faster than Joy or myself. So follow your intuition and heart and follow your purpose. And if you want to speak things out, start small. Maybe talk to a pet, to a tree. Maybe you have a loved one you feel comfortable with or a friend. And I did it with the wind. It wasn't the speaking. I also was very quiet after a certain time. I spoke a lot of wisdom, scared many people, adults, when I was really small. Then also became very quiet, and it took me into my 20s before speaking again. I also turn things around and still have a mishmash of languages. But maybe that trained me for my life now, speaking all the different languages of ancient societies or the star nations. And but it was not easy. And nowadays too, here there I hear, Marlene, you only speak when it's needed. And that's what I've learned. It was not also safe. So everyone, if you feel that you have missed or grieved times past where you didn't express yourself, it was also, you were kept safe a little bit. Do not underestimate. It was not, would have not been good. It would have hurt you more, and maybe then you wouldn't be able to do your work right now, right? So looking at it, that there, the beautiful seeds there in there too, where you could observe maybe more, and Joy, I bet you're also rather visual. So using the eyes, observing, sensing, feeling energies, those things were then honed. If you don't speak out. And now you have the talent to bring it all together. You really can take a person, and a person who comes to you, Joy, feels safe, because you can understand them on so many different levels. Yeah. In what you went through, they can come with any topics in different times of their life. So you have also a vastness of people coming to you as clients. So that's a fascinating. And you had the courage, and that's also courage in action. And there's even the word angel in there. If you would, ever look with my dyslexic, I looked at it, but I thought, oh my God, look, there's also the angel in it. There's so the angelic, the light is also supporting everyone that works with you. So fantastic. Thank you for doing this work.
Absolutely. One thing you said there, Mylene, is we're in 2025 now, and things are happening so much more quickly. Like people who've just been on the, starting on the path or 5-10 years, it is not going to take you 20, 30, 40 years. It's the change is happening so quickly now. And plus, people who are in their, especially 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, they started, like after World War II, the light workers started coming down to see the light in the 3D. That's why so many of us, I think virtually all of us that are on the path, were born in very 3D consciousness families, that density to see the light and to share the light. And yes, that light worker, as a child, you've been shut down, but the light is still within you. You're still, that light is still radiating out from you. Even when you're a young child, in a very 3D dense consciousness, an energy family, that light is still radiating out. And that's why now, I call it the great awakening we're going through. That's why it's possible, because all these light workers for, the past several decades have been coming down to earth, seeding the light, and then that radiates out. That connects ultimately, energetically, it's connecting all the light workers, and the density that has been surrounding, humanity's consciousness, it has been shifting and releasing for the past, well, since World War II. That's about when it started.
Mhm.
And so everything is quickening, it's just quickening up so much, and consciousness, and it's so much more the availability. Oh my gosh, there's so much, like, your podcast, and there's so much information out there and different speakers and that's available. So anybody who's just starting out, know that it doesn't have to take a long time. The biggest thing, though, is be kind to yourself. Be
That's a
kind
good
to
one.
yourself. The If you really want to, okay, so if you really want to change your life, let's say you're feeling stuck, or things just aren't working out, or you're stuck in struggle, or it just feels like a loop and you can't get out of it. When you're kind to yourself, your words are energy, and they can support you, they can inspire you, they can support you in believing it's possible, or they can keep you stuck. And that affects your health as well. Have some kind of a vision for yourself. If you don't, if you're feeling stuck or everything is looping, it's because your energy, you keep thinking the same. So your energy just loops and loops. As soon as you have a vision, it doesn't have to be something material. It could be travel, or buying a house, or starting a business, or writing a book. But even emotionally, I want to feel happy. I want to feel joyful. I want to feel inspired, creative. I want to start accepting myself. That's an energy. Once you have that vision, those are higher frequency emotions. Like acceptance, appreciation, gratitude, they exist in the fifth dimension, the new earth field. And so when you say to the universe, okay, I'm ready to start feeling good about myself, to feel happy, to appreciate myself, and you put that out to the universe, that's a high frequency energy. Right away, you are getting yourself out of that stuck energy or that struggle. And so then start being kind to yourself. Ask yourself empowering questions. See what most people do. So the unconscious mind, 95% of who we are is our unconscious conditioning, thoughts, beliefs, emotions, behaviors, and such. And so that's always looping in your unconscious mind. When you're sleeping, when you're doing something, your patterns and your limiting beliefs are looping. So what many people do, because we're taught this, is something won't go the way they want it to, or they feel stuck in struggle, and they say, what's wrong with me? I mean, that's just part of, humanity's 3D consciousness. What's wrong with me? Or how come I can't get it right? Or how come I always mess up at this or get it wrong? Well, your mind is a Q&A. It's going to give you answers. So your mind's going to, research all the things that have happened to you, all your conditioning, and say, well, this is what's wrong with you, or this is why you can never get it right. Now that's going to, bring you down. So now you're in a stuck energy. So you just keep looping. So start by asking yourself empowering questions. Say something like, okay, well, I took those actions. I did not get my desired result. So now I need to change actions. What actions could I take to get the desired result? Or maybe I need to have a different vision. Or maybe, how can I look at this from a different point of view, or ask myself different questions so I can get a different result? If it's money, you want to make more money, or if it's buying a house, whatever it is. And your mind will answer you, okay, well, that didn't work out that time. Maybe you could try doing this. You're like, in other words, so your mind, or you call it your ego mind, or your unconscious conditioned self, when you're stuck, it's like it's doing what it's trained to do. It's keeping you safe. And it keeps you safe by keeping everything stuck. But your mind, or your ego mind, or your unconscious conditioned self, it can be your partner. It's like your friend, your partner in success, whatever that is, your vision is. And so you can change that, and your ego mind, your unconscious conditioned self. When you change the words, the questions, and the words you say to yourself, and how you talk to yourself, and when you are kind to yourself, when you're kind, when you accept yourself, then your unconscious conditioned self, your conditioning, starts to go, you know what? Maybe there's a reason for all that. Maybe that was supposed to happen. Well, you know what? Let's work together. It's like you become your own best friend and partner in what your desired
Yes.
creation is. And so, yeah, the biggest thing I can say, during this, while we're talking here, is be kind to yourself. Ask yourself empowering questions, inspiring questions, uplifting questions, and be kind to yourself and accept yourself. Because you know what, we're all, on this human journey. We're all figuring it out.
Yeah,
So yeah,
it's a right. But, we're born as light beings, and light beings that come and support us. You spoke about that, and all of us that have come. We're here for each other, and even others. They bring their high vibration, and they see the beauty in us. And yes, cultural and politics maybe don't let us see ourselves, make us feel horrible, right? We have a red pen on our written paper. More of that, instead of saying, oh, this is great, or what is your talent, live that. But this is changing. And Joy, you did say many things. I have one beautiful woman that wrote in a question also with the global question. You answered many of these things, Aren, but I would like to tell you what she wrote. Her name is Sherry. And she wrote, and it's a more global idea, how does someone create an abundant money story? And then the second question was, what is the 3D to 5D money? Yeah, and it's exactly that. And
is that the same person that asked you?
Same a person, but
Okay.
it was more asked for the global picture, because what I'm getting to, it was hard for her to create a personal question. And so I want to hint on this. You said to create a vision. It's very hard sometimes for people to create their own vision. So because you really answered a little bit of the first two already, could you go and help Sherry, because you do also clearance or whatever you sense and feel, that she can see things for herself? She's really good in, I've known her, we were students together. As a young person, right? Since then, she helps others. What is now in 2025 hard for her to ask a personal question?
Okay. Can you tell me the two questions again? Tell me the second one first. It was like,
what is 3D to 5D money?
Okay.
Or the difference.
One before was, how
does someone create an abundant money story or life?
Okay. Okay. So, first of all, the vision. Yeah, sometimes it can be hard to have a vision, like you don't know what you want. So start there. This is what I don't want. So you're clear about that. But if we have deserving or worthiness issues, sometimes we will say, well, yeah, I'd love to travel, but I'm not worthy of that. But in other words, your unconscious conditioned self, your ego mind blocks it out before you can even have that vision. So decide how you want to feel. Well, I'd love to feel more peace. I'd love to feel more inspired. I'd love to be more creative or connected to others, having authentic conversations, inspiring conversations. I'd love to enjoy life more and just be happier and feel more at ease and safe. Figure that out first of all. Like that's actually what supports you in creating your vision anyways, is that emotional connection, because those emotions can be magnetized. Because if you have, let's say you buy a house or you get to travel and you're not happy, you're not enjoying yourself, well, I mean, that's not, that's not a fulfilling vision anyways. So first of all, I would suggest decide, let's start. I want to go to the 3D to 5D with money, and I'll answer, go into do a clearing for her as well around money.
Thank you.
But Okay, so actually, let's start with this. Let's see. Now, first of all, before I go any further, I want to do a bit of an explanation between 3D to 5D. So 3D, we've touched on a little bit. 3D is what holds that consciousness together is fear, is the emotion of fear, emotion, energy, and motion. So it's fear, and then anything that aligns with fear, guilt, shame, anxiety, feeling worthless, helplessness, anger, all of that. Those are the emotions that hold that 3D consciousness together. And then there's the limiting beliefs and such. When you're in that, you're going to struggle with money because you don't feel worthy of it. And so 5D, going to 4D in a moment here. The fifth dimension, I call it it's the new earth. And that's where the higher frequency emotions reside. So you've got 3D, you've got 5D. The fifth dimension is happiness, joyfulness, gratitude. If you're in gratitude, you're radiating out that beautiful, it's like a heavenly energy. And that's one of the greatest energies and frequencies you can be in for receiving. And that's an awesome, to really cultivate the energy of gratitude. Even if a person doesn't know what it is, like I've never felt it, that's okay. Just imagine. Imagine what it would feel like when you're out in nature, when you feel peaceful. That's, there right away. You just like you emoted that. I felt that gratitude. That's gratitude. It's not a specific thing. Just imagine it. And that's when you open up to receiving. Okay, so you've got the third dimension, which is fear based. That's the thread that holds it together. It's heavy and dense. We all know that. We were birthed into it. Our ancestors were birthed into it and raised in that. The new earth, the fifth dimension, which is gratitude, acceptance, inspiration, creativity, fun, laughter, happiness, joyfulness, and such. The fourth dimension, that's like a portal or like even a tunnel that connects the two. That's when you're doing your inner work. That's when, you're really diving deep, and it can be a painful journey.
Yes,
You're
it can.
remembering sometimes, some really deep pain. But that is what takes you, as you're doing that, you're releasing the heaviness and the density of the 3D and moving into the fifth dimension. One of the things I want to mention is what most people do, and what I did for years, is you do your inner work and then feels good. You feel relaxed. You feel that ease and you stop. That's actually the moment where you go, okay, I feel so good. I feel relaxed and at ease. Now, what do I want to move forward to? Go an extra step when you're doing your inner work and say, okay, so what do I want to create in my life? How do I want to feel? Because what you're doing, that is your opportunity to consciously start creating in the new earth. And okay, so creating an abundant money set. First thing that comes in for Sherry, and I think many of us when we hear those words, is worthiness. It's like so what Sherry's doing is there's so many people suffering in the world, and people who really need it. Why should I have more money? I don't know if she's aware of it or not, but I can hear her unconscious saying, why should I have more money when so many other people are working just as hard as me or deserving and such? And and I can hear her consciousness saying, yeah, that's it exactly. Oh, okay, there you go. Even just identifying that, I can feel a release of tension within her. Okay, little bit of anger is coming up, and it's a very manipulative energy. It's what I call matrix anger, because it's insidious, manipulative energy. It's part of the 3D consciousness trying to keep her stuck. See, the agenda of dark energies or the 3D consciousness is to keep us stuck, is to keep us living in fear. So call it the agenda of the dark energies, they don't want us to know about higher consciousness and how to become free. That when you are free, when you're living in the light, the dark, that's one thing. Dark has no control or no power. Anybody who feels like they're being attacked by entities or controlled by entities, when you're in the light, the dark cannot control you. It just cannot. But when you're in fear, anger, shame, guilt, now we all go there. It's not about being Pollyanna. I call it the false positivity. So, but you go there, you be aware of that, and then again, choose something greater. Okay, I worked through that. So let's do this here. So, Sherry, and anybody else who has money issues, which we all deal with money. So let's look at the money. So I'm not worthy of. Okay, and that actually, I can feel a lot of people feel that way, but I'm not worthy of having more money because so many, other people need it, could go other places and such. So let's say you live with that. Okay, I'm not worthy or deserving or having more money because there's so many more people who need it or other people are suffering, and I want to support them. Oh, this is an interesting wording. I want to support them in their pain. So when I struggle, then I can understand their struggle. Oh, that was interesting. I've never heard it quite like that, just came through that wording there. But what you're doing, see, it's usually people who are generally, very empathetic who because they want to support others. So their heart goes out to others. But when you say that, I mean, generally that's unconscious. But when you say, I can't have more money because other people are struggling and they're in pain, and I want to understand them, I want to be there for them, I want to feel for them. What you're doing is you're sending a very heavy, dense energy their way. And a person, whether it's actually animals that taught me this, the animals said, like, don't feel sorry for us or don't hate on our abuser because it just keeps everything stuck. And bless us with love and expansion and freedom. And then we will become free. And it's same with people. See, yes, it comes from a good place. It comes from a person's heart. Oh man, there's suffering. There's so much suffering in the world. I just feel for them. But then you're coming from a place of, I feel sorry for you, you're struggling. And a person doesn't say that. They want the best for them, but that's such a heavy energy and it just keeps everything stuck. Look at that energy, it's sticky. But when you let's say you look at somebody who's struggling or you look at people in the world or war-torn countries and you see the struggle and the pain and the destruction. And, that's it. That's, heavy stuff. But feeling like I can't have because they don't have. I have to struggle because they're struggling. I have to feel the pain because they're feeling the pain. That creates energetic cords that keeps everything stuck. So it's not about not caring about others or caring about the world situation. It's not about not caring. It's about saying, so let's say you've got a situation or somebody who's struggling or in pain or is disabled and is never going to get any better. And you're like, oh man, I can just feel for them. Okay. So now put the focus on yourself, bring your focus back to yourself and give yourself permission to feel good about yourself, to feel, oh, there's some sadness coming in. There you go. There. See, when you feel good about yourself, when you accept yourself, you're grateful for yourself, you're grateful for your life, you're grateful for your experiences. That's what you're radiating out to that other person. Anybody who's struggling or has, disabilities or is just stuck, they've got enough people feeling sorry for them. They don't want anybody else feeling sorry for them. They want somebody to uplift them, and you can do that energetically. So you can actually, it goes against what we're taught in this 3D consciousness, but when you support yourself, when you give yourself permission to feel good about yourself, when you open up to receiving ever increasing amounts of money, happiness, joyfulness, gratitude, opportunities with ease and grace, and you receive them because you feel good about yourself, that is energy you are radiating out. And in that way, you are supporting the raising of the frequency of human consciousness. Your energy is everything, and how you feel about yourself and how you feel about receiving creates that energy within you, and that's what you're radiating out. So even if you're sitting at home and just literally, uh, maybe you're on disability and you're getting government benefits, or maybe, and I'm not talking to Sherry specifically, but anybody who's listening, or maybe somebody else is supporting you, or you're struggling. The more you're still supporting human consciousness, you're supporting the raising of the frequency of human consciousness when you choose to feel good about yourself. And when you say to yourself, I am worthy of receiving all the gifts the universe, source, God has been wanting to bless me with, I allow myself to receive. There, I don't know if you just felt that, but everything just relaxed. And that energy, that beautiful energy radiates out. And in that way, you are supporting the raising of human consciousness. That's what they mean by you are supporting humanity and human consciousness just by being. When you are being in that frequency and that energy, and that's why it's so important to be kind to yourself. No matter what you've been through, no matter what you've done, just be kind to yourself. Because when you're kind to yourself, you accept yourself, you approve of yourself, you say to yourself, you know what? I matter and I am important. I am enough. I like myself. I appreciate myself and I accept myself. Everything I've gone through, all my experiences, everything I've done, who I am now, what my life has become now, I accept myself. That is an energy that's radiating out. And my friend, if all you do is, and I don't say all you do, everybody's got their life. What you're doing is just sitting there. And or if you had this big dream and you feel like you're back to where you were, that energy within you is radiating out and making a difference. You make a difference.
Oh, beautiful. Yes, she will. She has always done a difference. And I can feel like it went boom and it's spreading everywhere. She's so much wisdom in this beautiful being in Sherry. Thank you, Joy, so much. And really, kindness is a kindness of yourself, and take the time to discover yourself. The body, the things you like to do, the things you like to wear, your own rhythm. It's important to be kind to figuring out your own rhythm and to live it. That is kindness as well. It's vocabulary. It's what kind of food you use, what kind of fabrics you have around yourself, clothing that will yet feel good with whatever you put on, that there's nothing that scratches you ever. There's so many layers, and we neglect exactly these, especially women, and men have been trained to do that too. So for us as humanity, that is the way to go. This was beautiful. And how you ended, it just also leads into the next person that wrote something in, and that's Petra or Petra. And she wrote, how can I find the golden nuggets of my life and prior business experience that are now needed to flourish my soul's mission, or in my soul's mission? And so that I can integrate them into my future life and mission or path. So what are the nuggets that she has experienced and maybe doesn't see or can't feel or can't get to, that are needed really in her future, that she can integrate and be more of who she are? Because we have a purpose why we are here on earth, each single beautiful being. And there is something where she can really get to that. Maybe you can support her in that as well. That would be fantastic.
So she's wanting to basically learn from past experiences and then utilize that now. Yeah, like the golden nuggets.
Yeah, what do we need in the future from our past, in a way it comes?
Right, yeah. Okay, Petra. So let's see. Okay, so let's tap into Petra. Oh, there's a lot of sadness there. And that's really where I go first, is emotional frequency. So first of all, there's a lot of sadness. Okay, so Petra, any ways in which you are Yeah, feeling like a failure about some past experiences that didn't turn out the way you wanted them to. Let's go ahead and release that. Anybody else? The clearing is for anybody who needs a clearing, would like a clearing. So anybody who would feels like a failure about anything in their past, let go of that. Let go of that. There you go. Okay. Oh, there's some matrix anger coming up. So that's that manipulative energy. See, it wants to keep you feeling like a failure because then you're never create something greater in your life. So let's just send that to the light, that matrix anger there. There you go. Okay, there. I just felt, Petra, I just felt your heart open up. There's a bit of happiness. Okay, so any nuggets? The nugget that I'm getting, the golden nugget that will support you in what you're doing now and in moving forward, is to realize those were experiences you had there. You're absolutely not a failure. Let go of that. Those were experiences you had that didn't turn out at that time because there's got to be some element of trust in the universe here as well. What if it wasn't time for that to come together? What if you weren't ready? What if society wasn't ready? What if humanity wasn't ready for the businesses, whatever you were doing, to come together? But now it's time. So, like, also trust we're co-creating, as you know, with the universe. So also trust that the universe has its reasons as well, and maybe there were reasons a business wasn't supposed to work back then. And there you go. I just felt your whole self relax. There's some ease and joy, and there's some gratitude and fun and laughter resonating from you. Okay, so let's see. Any past experiences, it feels like any heaviness or sadness or grief or, feelings like the failure thing, that's gone right now. And okay, so for what you're doing now and moving forward to, the word that comes in is trust. Just trusting that you're being supported, trusting that you're on the right path, and be willing to, if things aren't working out the way you want, be willing to ask empowering questions, be willing to see things from, multiple points of view, and be willing to take different actions if necessary. There you go. Take a deep breath in. Let go. Okay, just feel some relaxation there. Okay. So thank you for that
Oh.
question.
Yeah, this is so important because we're all born as beautiful beings, and that is something, Joy. I sense not enough people feel it, even though even as healers, creatives, mothers, fathers. I mean, the list goes on. But then there came changes, maybe wherever we grew up in, and to get back to that, and normally there is always a need for something. Without need, there is not this growth. So we come to a plateau and then suddenly we pushed off or jump off or higher. Then there was a need for it. And sometimes, what we've experienced, not always, is something that feeds then later. Is needed then, and we can get also the strength or get that energy out of it. And it's, maybe it's like I'm talking, I have small kids now, but it feels like, if you have the wool, when you've made the ball out of the wool and it's all entangled sometimes, and then you have to feel which are yours that need to be pulled out. We all work with different light colors, for example. Some have strengths, use this light, some use the golden light. And yeah, there is a playground, and we're now learning what are those playgrounds. And I think that's why Petra's question was so beautiful. What are the nuggets? And to concentrate on the nugget and not always on the bad things that happen to us that pull oneself down, right? When the shoulders go down. But when you see, that is like the pin in the straw, in the haystack. once you can find that pin and take it and then maybe put it somewhere, and then suddenly it can glow and shine because you have dusted off the metal, for example, if it's a pin. And then now there's something, and it can go everywhere, and you can live your purpose.
Yeah, I've talked to actually I've had several clients say, well, I used to, 10 years ago or 8 or 15 years ago, I used to be, this is mostly in the healing industry, but I used to do Reiki, or I used to do this, but it didn't work out. But the consciousness was, no, I don't know what business Petra's in or others who are listening, but the consciousness was so different then. So whether it's healing or coaching or anything else, and you're saying, well, it didn't work out then, so maybe I'm not supposed to do it. Where the consciousness has changed so much now. And, people are waking up. We're living, as, everybody knows, we've all experienced it, but a very different world than we were 5 years ago and, 10, 15 years ago. So even if something, various experiences didn't work out before, it doesn't mean you might have to, change it a little bit, take different actions, but it doesn't mean it's not going to work out now. Just like relationships. I mean, we get into relationships that don't work. And, but as we learn and the consciousness changes and our consciousness and awareness changes and we understand more, then we keep getting into relationships. So if anybody is thinking of feeling like I should just give up, or I can't do this because it didn't work before, what, you've changed, so is humanity and the consciousness. So
yeah, the material. Also, we are in a material world. That's also a very difficult thing to experience as beings. So in a shamanic way, we talk, right? When you set an intention before, it took because you come from the non-material, right? And then you come into the material. So before it was so dense and you were just speaking about it, then it took time. It had worked its way through. But as now Earth is becoming less dense, and thank you for all beings for all the hard work and the support from everywhere, and the now it is looser, yeah. So everything can the rhythm, the particles, they can be more in the flow, and it's not this strength. And what you set an intention, it just can flow through, and it can materialize, and it can come into creation. And yes, please, if you feel something all your life already, and enjoy, you have that in you too. You did not give up. So what is it really that is inside where we know, I call it, you cannot not do it. Yeah, there is something, and you go and you come from all different directions. But suddenly, please don't give up. There's a zip, and then everything goes, because you come and you can feel it in your body. The circumstances your surrounding has also adjusted because you change. And there's one important thing, Joy, I always speak about is, if I change, my surrounding changes, because I cannot change as just a thing and nothing else changes. For me to be able to change. So we are so powerful when we start doing a self-development or the inner work, or finding out more about ourselves or even other people. Then it's physics. It changes then. And so sometimes it takes time to also, once you're already done yourself, also to get the environment around you to adjust. So it's a little bit more complex. And I wish everyone, don't give up. If you have that in you, this one, you have the same dream over and over. You have the same vision for 5, 10, 20 years. Yeah, please don't give it up. Keep on focusing, and it'll come faster and faster. And you have so much support. And I love, Joy, how you said that. Ask all the questions. Keep on asking questions. And we have been numbed not to ask questions. And I think that is a beautiful. That would be a fun thing to do. Also for moving into oneness, for us to be able and sense the oneness we are, and that everything out there is here for us. that they can sense that in my world. But before we go that, it's really important, after you've done this beautiful work, how can people reach you and work with you? I know you have a beautiful download, and I'll put that into the show notes. And I read through it, the 30 days of, I forget.
Oh yeah, 33 days of healing. Yeah,
Yeah, genau. And then you
Yeah.
also have audios. So you give so much support. You give so much for yourself and everyone. This is already fascinating. It already changes you, and again, also the environment. And you can see it then in your partner, in your family, and your children. That's my big driver. The children joy. How can they reach you?
My website, it's courageinaction.com. So courage and then in action.com. And they can get a free Messages from Spirit ebook there. So these are channeled messages from Spirit. Several are written. There's also about an hour and a half MP3s in that ebook. Just enter the email and it will come up immediately on the web page. So I just want to let people know, because they're actually not sent an email. I haven't set that up yet. And so you can get that. Yeah, in the shop, there's several MP3s there. There's on money, inner child, all kinds of things. There's also a couple longer programs there. I work with people on on phone sessions. If somebody wants something more interactive, that would be the session for them, because I can clear any memories or wounding or anything that comes up while we're talking. But I also work, and this is how I started out when I was doing it, full time, is just work from a picture. So somebody sends me a picture and whatever they want cleared, depending on which they do the longer or shorter session. And I just work from the picture and clear that. So what I do is because energy is within us. We've also got, of course, the aura, the energy field. When somebody takes a picture, we take a selfie of ourselves, all that energy is in the picture. So we're just tapping into that, me and my guides, and we record an MP3 and just send it to the person. So that's like ultimate inconvenience. A lot of people love that.
I think so.
So convenient, yeah.
Yeah, and you work globally. That's so important, or in different or time wise or time change. So I love that. Yes.
Yeah, that's the beauty with technology now. We can, work globally. One thing I want to be sure and mention before we finish here is, if anybody is feeling stuck, or you've got a vision and you've been working toward it and things just aren't working out, ask yourself, or say to yourself like a mantra, what if it's possible? What if it's possible? What if it's possible? Because saying what if bypasses the resistance of your unconscious conditioned self, your ego mind. So you don't go into resistance. And then saying possible over and over again. If you say this over and over again like a mantra, you feel the energy relax within yourself, and your energy field opens up, and you open up to new ideas, to possibilities, even opportunities will come in. I've said this like a mantra to myself, like I'll go out walking and just say it either out loud or silently to myself. What if it's possible? It is something greater. So let's say you've got a vision, you just want to be happy, you want to really start accepting yourself. But let's say somebody says, you know what, I would just like to really be at ease in myself, accept myself, feel good about myself. Your ego mind's going to come in and give you all the reasons why, you can't feel good about yourself. But if you say that this is my intention to feel good about myself, and then you start saying, what if it's possible? What if it's possible? What if it's possible? What if it's possible? And you say that like a mantra. Now, in the beginning, your ego mind will still come in and say, oh, that's not possible. Bring yourself back to it's possible. What if it's possible? And I've done this. I'm sure yeah, it works. So many things, like getting on my very first show. I did it for about 2 years beforehand, recorded into my phone for 20 minutes. Just what if it's possible over and over again, would listen to that and such. So it works, because what it does, see, we can do everything right. And I think we've all had this, this experience where you do everything right, but nothing really changes. Often that's with money, it doesn't change. And, you've got the vision, you get emotionally connected to it, you magnetize that with your emotions, you focus on it, you believe in yourself, but it's not turning out. Start asking yourself, saying to yourself like a mantra, well, what if it is possible? What if it's possible? What if it's possible? Because even just a little spark within ourselves doesn't believe that it's possible, will self-sabotage. But it's so subtle, we won't even realize it. But what if it's possible? That is so powerful, done not just once, but like a mantra over and over again, because it just shifts. And your mind will, I have done this when I'm going, I'm thinking of something, I'd love to do that or experience that. And I'll go, what if it's possible? And all of a sudden I'll hear my mind go, it's possible. And the shift.
Yeah.
So it works. Yeah.
I had to think about it. I had one year, 2012. Anyway, an fascinating year. But if I would have looked ahead in January, we're also now in January, I could have not even imagined what all these things that happened there. I'm not going to go into it. But that year taught me that so much I don't know yet, and I have not experienced. And what is possible, what you're saying, is so powerful. Because even if you say it as a mantra the whole time, what is possible, but suddenly you say, oh, what is possible, right? It changes suddenly. So what is? And then you start wandering, and you're a being that has access to the one mind, everyone. So don't underestimate what ideas can come to your thought, and you're thinking them, and maybe write them down. And also, what is important, what again I noticed you say, Joy, the patience that you started 2 years earlier and then it happened. But you put such a strong intention. There many other things happened to prep you probably for that, or then that it could take off, right? So this is also important, to keep on believing in yourself, and that you're here to do whatever you desire, in a way that you will feel it. And this is a beautiful way. And please do not get discouraged. I see too many that are, especially now, as in the way the pressure on the cooking part, the pressure, right? It's now under pressure. It's the pressure from society, outside, and cultures, and the, in a way, manipulators. But they only do what they know how to do. But we can change it. So to stand relaxed and self-confident, sovereign, and that's what you're teaching everyone, to feel so sovereign and to understand who they are, to explore who they are, right? And that they can do so much more. And that is a fantastic a part of being this beautiful healer. And you do it really, really fast. I mean, the speed that you're bringing. And then as you have Palladians and many other beings that support you, and that goes into anyone out there as well. So please keep on looking for other podcasts, shows, whatever, to be on, so they can all explore you or come to you personally and get the wisdom full impact. Yeah. You do fascinating work. Thank you, Joy, for that. And you're a baker. So you're really baking what comes. No, because sometimes we have to look at our name. Our name says a lot about us. And you knew joy was important for you to bring and spread that joy, or your joyfulness out, and radiate it out into the world. But the baker is very creative. He has endurance in action, and he has the courage of action, right? And you start with something and you sometimes don't know how it comes in. There's so many other factors, heat, fluids, and sometimes it reacts different, but he still goes and does it. And out of, it has to grow out of something. Most of the doughs, rice or cakes, and that rising. So you fill up people, you give back the volume they are to have, instead of being the condensed, shrunk in being. So again, Thank you.
That's funny. I never thought of my last name that way because I actually am not a cook or a baker, at
Yeah,
all.
but you do it with
And
your
yeah, that's
energies for
not my
people.
skill set. But yeah, energy work, yeah, bake up a
Yeah.
storm.
Big up
Oh,
a
that's
storm.
funny.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned you offered so beautifully to do a little clearing meditation uh, for everyone listening and viewing this episode of the Moving to Oneness, of feeling comfortable to receiving the oneness and also the joy of experiencing oneness. Or whatever comes to you, I'm really open. You can feel, because it's a global podcast, so the whole world listens in. And what is needed now, right? Because I also record shortly before it goes live. So what is now in January? It's one of the last days of January 2025. That is needed for now and the future to be cleared away or put emphasis on.
Okay. So we'll see what comes in. When
Okay.
you said receiving, that stuck. So we'll see what comes in. Okay. So just start by taking a deep breath in and just let yourself, don't make yourself, or just allow yourself to receive that beautiful life force energy. Just receive that gently into your body. And then as you're ready, release that along with any stress, heaviness. There you go. Okay, you can continue doing that as long as you want. The first thing that came up was worthiness issues, feeling, believing. Okay, so any and all ways you believe you're not worthy of receiving or worthy of feeling good about yourself. Yeah, there's a deep sadness there. Okay, so all the ways you were taught, it was implied, you understood that you are not allowed to feel good about yourself, or that it's even shameful or bad for you to feel good about yourself. Let's acknowledge that, and then acknowledge that simply something you were taught. It is not a divine truth. Give yourself permission to align with divine truth. Divine truth is that you are absolutely allowed to feel good about yourself. There you go. Okay. That does not make those that taught you or implied that you are not allowed or not supposed to feel good about yourself, or that you're wrong or bad for feeling good about yourself. That was simply what they were taught. It's not about right or wrong. Simply let's acknowledge them. That's all. Just acknowledge them. There you go. Now let's let go of the false truth that you are not allowed to feel good about yourself, or that you can be punished for feeling good about yourself. Just let go of that on all levels: mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, cellular. There you go. There's some happiness. There's some fun and freedom energy. So imagine feeling good about yourself. So you say to yourself, you know what? I like myself. I appreciate and accept myself. And I give myself permission to feel good about myself, to feel really, really good about myself in mind, body, spirit, soul. Every part of me feels good about myself. There you go. As you feel good about yourself, you accept and acknowledge yourself, you appreciate yourself. Your child awakens within you, that beautiful, magical, oh so wise child has awakened within you. This is all the child has wanted, for you to feel good about yourself. And as your child awakens, now you can merge. All parts of you can merge and become one, whole and complete, feeling good about yourself. There you go. Take a deep breath in. Let that go. Okay, there's some fun and laughter. And now, as you are whole, complete, balanced, grounded, feeling good about yourself, feeling empowered and confident, give yourself permission to receive all the gifts and blessings Source has been wanting to bless you with. Ever increasing amounts of money, happiness, joyfulness, being seen, heard, witnessed, acknowledged. Just allow yourself to receive. And now allow yourself, consciously allow yourself to feel good about receiving, to feel good about receiving, because you are worthy and deserving of receiving. Because the more you allow yourself to receive and you feel good about receiving, that yummy energy within you, feeling good, feeling so good about yourself and about receiving, that radiates out from you. And others who are ready to feel good about themselves and to ready to begin receiving, they align with that energy and you awaken them to feeling good about themselves, to higher consciousness, to how amazing it can feel to receive the gifts and blessings of the universe. And all because you had the courage, my friend, to feel good about yourself and to realize that feeling good about yourself and being kind to yourself, acknowledging yourself, accepting yourself, approving of yourself is a divine truth. And as all that goodness within you resonates within you and the divine light awakens within you, you begin receiving and you feel so happy, joyful, uplifted, inspired, creative. And now your gifts and talents are being shared with others and you are uplifting human consciousness. You are supporting the raising of human consciousness, all because you decided to start feeling good about yourself, accepting, appreciating, approving of yourself. So shokabasa wala sa shoko babaka wala sa shoko babaka tukabase babaka awala sa so shokabasa wala ka wala sa shoko babaka awala sa so shokabasa wala ka awala sa so shokabasa tukabase awala sa shokabasa wala ka. There you go, my friend. Namaste.
It's going to be a beautiful world. It is a beautiful world. It will always be a beautiful world. Thank you. And it will shine so much brighter because of you, Joy. Thank you.
Thank
That
you.
was
Leela.
magic. And I bet a lot of people are still in that a meditative flow, this beautiful energy. So if you are, just stay there, keep on it, and think maybe of ways, journal, think about ways, speak with your friend about ways to nourish yourself and to be the beautiful being you are. So, Joy, thank you very much for spending the time with us. Your energy, your loving energy, your wisdom, being so open, sharing about your beginnings and your, not if struggle is the wrong word, but the complexity, the painful way also of, there were many beautiful moments as well, of following your own wisdom, your own vision, and becoming this beautiful light worker and a beautiful being for all of us. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having me on your show.
Appreciate it. So, and everyone out there, be who you are, shine brighter, expand, 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 and receive. That receiving did so well. And thanks for the Palladians that showed up, started shaking and acknowledging them. So I love the at the end, they anchored the words into every person who heard it and will hear your words and felt the energy, and it won't stop there because of them and because of you. So thank you. So the best to everyone. And I'm Eileen. of the Moving to Oneness podcast, sending out the light to you and beyond. Bye bye.